Wow. I just can't seem to stop thinking about that dream I had last night. It was so nice. Wish I could time travel, revisit old memories. It'd be one hell of a nostalgia trip. Or maybe I can. I remember when me and my friend were trapped in liminal space. Then after spending enough time there, we didn't want to leave. Maybe we can brainstorm a way to go back there. I hope they're up for it. I'll call them and see if we can give it a shot. Hello? Hey, it's been a while. You know, I had a really cool dream last night. It put me in a nostalgic mood. You remember that time we were in liminal space, right? Well, I wanted to know if you wanted to go back there. Oh, awesome. That's so exciting to hear. Glad we're on the same page. There's just one problem. I don't know how to go back there. Wait, really? You do? Well, spill the beans then. I need to know this. What? That's it? It's really that simple? So, let me get this straight. You were exploring the abandoned train station in our town and just so happened to find a portal in the basement? Okay, well, that's great. I'm glad it's so simple. But why that place specifically? And how has no one else found it yet? Yeah, that's fair. Can't blame you for not knowing. Well, I'll meet you there then. See you in a few. Hey! Wow, you weren't kidding. There really is a portal here. I can take a guess as to why. Perhaps this portal is here because an abandoned train station is an old place that's stuck in time, so to speak. Fits the theme of liminality. It makes perfect sense. Yeah, let's head in. This place is really musty. Need better air to breathe. Whew, look at that. We're back in the mall. I remember it like it was yesterday. You know, part of the reason we find locations like this so nostalgic is due to their sense of, what was. What I mean is, a mall is obviously built by people, right? But the people who built it are no longer there. This man-made structure is separated from the people who created it. It makes the structure feel like it's frozen in time, stuck in the past. And that's why it feels nostalgic. By all means, let's look around. Oh, this looks like a video game store. Yep, an old one at that. Check this out. There's a Super Nintendo Entertainment System over here. Its price tag says $200. If only consoles were actually that cheap nowadays. This is definitely a 1990s gaming store. I can even see a copy of Donkey Kong Country in the console. Never played the game myself, but I heard it's an old favorite of many. It's kind of funny. As a kid, I played so many video games. When you're that young, you'll enjoy just about anything. Even bad games that we look back on as adults with more insight and experience. Nowadays, my gaming library is quite shallow. I'm very picky about what I play these days. Oh, look at this. A PlayStation 1. It's cool seeing this old thing given that the PS5 exists. I wonder what game is in it. No way, Spyro the Dragon! That's amazing! The original Spyro trilogy were the first video games I ever played. This is just too much. My heart can't handle this much nostalgia. Yeah, I'm really glad that trilogy got a remake. We don't have a true Spyro 4, though. Wonder when that'll happen. Sure, we can find another room now. I'm gonna miss this one, though. Wow. Now this looks like something I'd see in a dream. We're on a road, but the road is a ring around the Earth, and all we can see around us is outer space. I wouldn't question the logic in any of these bizarre rooms. I've accepted that if you can imagine it, you can find it in liminal space. Nothing is too weird if you suspend your disbelief. We don't need an explanation as to how we're able to breathe in space, either. I noticed that the door is attached to the back of this car here. Looks like it was made in the early 1900s. I wonder if we can drive it. Well, the door certainly wasn't locked, and there's keys in the ignition. Maybe this'll really work. Huh. Well then, I guess this is happening now. Sure, we can drive for a bit. It gives me some time to talk about stuff. So, have you ever heard of retrofuturism? It's a bit of a specific term, but simple enough to understand. Retrofuturism is when the future is depicted from a past era. Say, for example, someone from the 90s drawing art of what they think the 2020s would be like. I know that sounds funny, seeing how, when all is said and done, society hasn't really changed all that much in the past 30 years. At least, I don't think so. Well, of course I'm not saying that we haven't had any advancements in 30 years. That'd be silly. For example, we went from old box TVs and VHS tapes to 4K TVs and digital streaming. Touchscreens, voice commands, all kinds of things. I remember when I was a kid, I'd watch America's Funniest Home Videos every Sunday night on a CRT vintage TV. Now that's nostalgia right there. In regards to the visual aspect of retrofuturism, there are forms of art that feel like they tried to look futuristic for their time. This can be seen in psychedelic art. If you're prone to seizures, I definitely wouldn't recommend looking up psychedelic art, but if you can handle it, you're in for a treat. It's art that consists of scenery painted with rainbow colors, usually with flashing, swirling, or wave-like motions, so you typically find them in the form of GIFs. To me personally, the nostalgic feeling of this art is linked to retrofuturism. You can totally imagine it yourself, right? People from the 1900s drawing cities with neon lights, thinking that the future would be like a whole new world with an advanced society? But in reality, things didn't actually change that much. Hell, cars that can fly and self-drive are basically still prototypes today. I doubt those will be mainstream until the 2030s. Maybe even longer. I can think of other forms of nostalgic art that aren't necessarily retrofuturistic. In fact, just about any kind of art can be nostalgic depending on the person. Imagine a blank canvas, if you will. A black one at that. Now add some stars to it. Golden stars for good contrast against the jet black paper. Ones that sparkle. Now add the moon. A golden moon. Make it crescent for even more contrast. Now place a star within the crescent gap. What have we just made? That's right, a night sky. It's simple, but as an old saying goes, there's beauty in simplicity. A night sky is supposed to be calm, beautiful, a natural work of art. It imbues a feeling of peace and tranquility within us. The art itself looks like something we could have made in kindergarten, like an arts and crafts project, a distant memory that we remember fondly. And that is nostalgic. Furthermore, music can also trigger nostalgia. Typically, liminal space has its own dedicated genre of music. Dreamcore comes to mind, usually consisting of somber tones or various ambiance, but any music can be nostalgic depending on the person. Want to find a different room? This one is nice and all, but it's basically just an endless road. Yeah, that's fine. Didn't feel like driving anymore anyway. Oh my God. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. Okay, so, to put it simply, this is the house I grew up in, and it's in the same condition that it was in when I was 5 years old. This is unreal. I recognize everything in here, like this old pellet stove. I remember we used to warm the house with this thing. We stopped using it because it eventually started shooting soot and smoke into the house. For what reason, we don't know. And we never bothered to fix it, so we relied on other heating methods. Oh yeah, that's the old box TV I mentioned earlier. Didn't think we'd actually see it. This is so weird, but I love it. My old Nintendo GameCube is here too, with all the games I used to own. I'm so happy right now. Of course we can check out my room. That's the best part. Here we are. Jeez, the carpet is just as hideous as I remember. But I don't care. I adore it. The carpet used to be white, but it kept getting dirtier and more stained over the years. Wasn't easy to clean either. And my cozy bed, with all my plushies and the flower pattern blanket. So comfy. Glad you noticed my Windows XP computer. It may be a piece of junk, but it was my piece of junk. It wouldn't be able to run any modern game, but it was perfect for what I used it for. Humongous entertainment games. Those were the best. Wow, I feel old looking at all this. I suppose it does feel a bit redundant to use the word old all the time. We're in liminal space. Everything is old. All this stuff reminds me of simpler times. Nostalgia is a drug, you know? We only ever get to experience our childhood once, and it's the time when we have our fondest memories. Growing up, learning so many new things, not having any responsibilities, and having the most fun. It's a time that many of us wish we could return to. I'm glad that you're enjoying this as much as I am. This is kinda like a liminal date. I could run around liminal space probably forever, to be honest. What about you? Want to keep exploring? You and I clearly share the same brain cell. We'll keep going after we spend some more time in my old house. I'm not done here yet. Yes, unfortunately, you can never relive your childhood. But on the bright side, you never have to relive your childhood.